Welcome to Talk to Brazil with Tom Reaoch, the business connector to business in Brazil. Welcome to Talk to Brazil, the business connection, the world's first English language internet radio program about business in Brazil, talking since 2009. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American living in Brazil for many years and known as the King of Networking, and talking from my studio in Campinas, São Paulo, Brazil. Today's guest is Luciana Panteleiciuc. She's an executive in business administration and marketing. She's also the founder of the Confidence Academy, a game changer in mentoring and coaching. And she's talking with us from her office in São Paulo, Brazil. So with that, Luciana, hello and welcome to Talk to Brazil.
Hello. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's our pleasure to be talking with you, Luciana. And as you know, and for our listeners, you have your own company. And here in Brazil, you work with many different types of clients here in Brazil. And what we'd like to talk about today, since we're still in the month of focusing on women, the professional reality for women in Brazil as executives, entrepreneurs, and startups. So what we'd like to talk about a little bit from you and hear from you are women from other countries coming to work in Brazil or doing business in Brazil. What are your tips? But also your tips to women working in Brazil. How about that?
Okay, so Brazil is a major country. As we know, it's the fifth largest country in the world. So we have so many opportunities here. We have all industries. And I see also as a very, very good opportunity for entrepreneurs. But as we know, and I want to tell that is that being an entrepreneur is challenging in Brazil because of the political and economical, also very that is changing every time, and also more in Brazil being a woman. Brazil is changing as we see. We have so many movements and communities on women, empowering women. But
right.
as we know, it's a great it's a great challenge.
Well, it's really a challenge in the whole world.
Absolutely.
Other persons I've been interviewing here say that. But here, you are an example. Even with the challenges, you're successful.
Yes. But as I have to say, it's not easy because actually being a woman in Brazil we have all these difficulties on businesses, on being entrepreneur, on companies. I also worked for 10 years on a company, and I saw this. As I like to say, I was born entrepreneur, but I worked for 10 years as an executive in a company. And what happened is that I saw that the men in my team that I was on the board were more, as I saw, were more able, were more in the first place to have some benefits that we do not have. So not for this reason, but I now have this company, and I'm trying to every day empower women to not to fail or give up in this case, and for these challenges they gonna see and they gonna meet during this lifetime in companies. But now most of my clients are in this movement, willing to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Although it's challenging, when we empower someone, they see so many talents, they see so many things that they can do, And when they are in a corporation, they cannot do this. And so what happens is that they want to do this and they want to be out of this environment so that they can be whoever they want to be. And so this is very interesting, this empowering movement. What happens is that if they work in a company and they already have this position or this capacity to, and this courage to make their voice heard, they stay. But most of them, during this process, see that this is not an option anymore.
Right.
I think that the greatest challenge in Brazil is the political and economic instability, which is, as we know, is every day is
every day is a new day.
Yeah, it's a new day, but I mean, it's all brand new. Like you don't know what's gonna be, and this is very challenging. The second thing is bureaucracy. Right. That I think it's very hard to deal with. And especially for foreign people, most of them don't understand it because everything is so hard. Like very simple things that we can do easily abroad here is very challenging, and it's very unpleasant to deal with.
Right. Well, it's energy that you have to use, and it's not necessarily productive energy.
And having said that, I think they have to be prepared and have more tools, clarity on what they really want. Because Brazil also has so many opportunities. I lived in Europe, and there, if you have a job, okay, but for being an entrepreneur abroad, I think it's harder.
Right.
I don't know, in America, I never lived there. I've been there so many times and I never lived there. But in Brazil, if you have a talent, if you have courage, if you speak Portuguese, which is very hard to do.
That's a point.
This is very challenging. I think this is very challenging, even for us, because Brazilians do not speak Portuguese well.
Or do not speak English well, right?
No, English too, but Portuguese.
I agree with you.
So if you're not Brazilian and want to work or have a company or anything in Brazil, you have to speak Portuguese, which is very challenging too. Right. But I think that also you have to deal with work well and with family. And this is also very challenging for women. And when we see a woman that is mother and wife and work and have success, wow, this is very hard to deal with, because most of them don't know that they can say no to some things instead of saying yes to their career or to their the things they want to do and the things they want to be. Right. And most of them unfortunately finish saying no, and this is like very traditional in Brazil, that most of the women think that they cannot choose.
I think that's an important point, maybe even worldwide. What you just said, I think the learning point, you need to learn that you can say no. And what we see and what you just said is true. That women, we talk about women think they have, I'm not to say they think to, but culture here, society, makes them think that they have to be obedient to their husbands or to other people or to their boss or to whoever. And they really don't have a voice, or their voice is always second place. And we see that throughout the society. And unfortunately, that's a fact. So for foreign women coming, or even for women here working, that's something they have to realize, that they have the power to say no, but they'll have to defend that.
And I mean, the most important point is working on themselves. Empowering means being very confident, and that's why I created the Confidence Academy, because I think that when you have self-esteem and confidence, you're okay. So you're gonna have the challenges anyway, but you'll be strong enough to face them, to be consistent, to have resilience, to be patient, and to face it as strong as you can. But now you're doing this from inside out, because if you try to do from outside, you won't do it. And because the word still deals with it, I think that there are so many movements saying that empowering women, but still when you go to businesses, if you're an entrepreneur, okay, because you have your own business, but if you work in a company, now you still have internal problems and concerning gender. And so when you work from inside out, when you are confident, because I'm talking about also the women that I work with. And now what I can see is that after this work, after they have this strong self-esteem and self-confidence, they just do it. They just do it. Of course, they need to study, they need to work hard. There is no magic pill. But if they have this education from inside out that they can do, that they can say no, that they can choose them, wow, this is life-changing. And
I agree with you. I think that's the importance of what you really do. We're talking about mentoring, about having models. And one thing in Brazil, that's for many things, it's difficult to find a good model to follow. And that's for men and for women. And we see that. So if you don't have a good, strong model for leadership, and if that model is for gender equality, the more women see that there are women leaders and more of them are growing and showing up here in Brazil, they follow the model. And part of mentoring is that, to help women, help people see that there is a model, there is a path to success. There is a path to what you said, and I agree with self-esteem and self-confidence and the word courage that you used at the beginning. That courage is to say no, but it's also the courage to want to change. And to keep pushing and to keep moving. Right. Because so many women don't see that men also have this challenge, but they don't give up. Right. They don't give up. Because, and this is more physiological than, this is because they have so many hormones that promotes them to be more courage than us. So this is the point that most women don't know. It's not that they have more courage. They do have, but this is physiological. So you can have it. You just have to exercise. So when we work on self-confidence, you definitely become more courage, because men do also have challenges, but they don't give up on themselves. They don't put the finger on them. They just say, okay, I have a challenge here. So what's next? So what's the best scenario I can do here? Or what's the person I can call? Or what's they're always trying to find a solution. And women, they point the finger on them. They say, oh, I am a problem. I am not capable. I can't do this. I can't do this. And this is the difference. And I always say, stop pointing the finger on you. Point the finger on the situation. Right. Okay, we have a situation here. We have a challenge. How can this get any better than this? What we can do here? And this is the difference between mindset. So when you change your mindset, when you stop pointing the finger on you and you start pointing the finger on the situation, and you always will find a solution. And that's very life-changing, because when you start functioning from this point, your life changes, because you're always going to find a solution and you're always going to move forward. You'll never give up on you. You'll never give up on your dreams. You'll never give up on your family. And this is so great. And I think this is what we have to work. And this is what I work on people. And that actually, what you just said, gives a personal high. It makes you feel better. Success always makes people feel better. And sometimes the more challenges you have, the more difficult it is to reach success, the happier you are after you've reached it. If you stop at the first barrier, at the first point of difficulty, that becomes frustrating. But I think tenacity, what you said, the ability to keep going, I think that's a basic characteristic of women anyway. They just sometimes don't admit it, because what you mentioned of the many different roles that women play, and that could be as a mother, that could be as a partner, that could be as a business person, that could be as a teacher, as a model, whatever. Today, a caregiver for parents, in any situation. You have women are more able to face multiple challenges. What we see in business, and you see that throughout the world too, men don't have that ability.
No, they're very focused, and they can do one thing, one at a time, and they do it really well. And it's okay, because it's very complementary. But talking about being happy, Tony Robbins says that the secret of happiness is life-changing, like changing and moving forward. Is this challenging life. Every challenge you face and you win it, you are more happy, because this is a muscle. What most people don't know is that this is a muscle, and being happy does not mean having all the things you want and having all your dreams come true. Happiness is a state of mind, a state of being, and it is inside of you. And one very, very important thing to know is that when you work on being the best version of yourself, when you work on the challenges and facing it as challenges and not as I am a problem, wow, your life changes. And talking about the multiple tasks of women, what I see is that we also have a amazing capacity to work with it and to find solutions. Because, there's so many women that have like more than one children, like 4 children, and they can do it, and they can work, and they can be successful. I think the point is more that it's more insight. Like when you see that you have the power to do it, you just do it. Recently I have a client that, she works on 2 jobs. She's got 3 small boys, like you imagine. The first interview I had with her, I would never forget. She locked herself in the bathroom because they were, and she said, I'm in the bathroom now. Now I can talk. And I said, you're in the bathroom? Yeah, because they're fighting and I cannot talk to you. And 3 boys, and I would never forget it. It was so funny. And she's so different because she wanted to be an entrepreneur. She works also for the government, but she had this dream to be an entrepreneur and to have this business on Instagram. And in 6 months, she's so successful. And she's still working for government. She's still mother of 3 kids. She still had her husband. She works and she travels, and she also is very good on taking care of herself, like gym, and it's beautiful. So when you see that, it's like it's a key. When you see that it is a key and you turn it on, your life changes. You cannot see, you cannot undo this. Right. You're done. You cannot undo this. Your life has changed.
That's an amazing example. And I'm sure this woman that you're talking about, she still has her bathroom, right? And probably still uses it for her comfort zone. And I think you've given us a tip. That's to everybody, to make sure that you have Wi-Fi in your bathroom.
Yes. Sometimes you're going to need it. But it was so amazing because, she was she didn't say, "Oh, Luciana, I cannot talk to you now because, my 3 boys, 2 twins, 3-year-old twins, and the other one was 5. So
Right.
Can you imagine the mess?" And she didn't say, "Oh, I cannot talk to you because they're fighting and, they're doing such a mess. And my husband, he cannot deal with it. And he's still like a kid." And she didn't say that. Just locked her in the bathroom and said, "Okay, we can talk now. I'm in the bathroom." And I said, "Okay, let's talk." And that was our first interview. And we closed the deal in the bathroom. And this is it. So when you want to find a solution, you'll find it. And
the important thing, there are solutions.
Yeah.
You just need to look for them, right?
And I think a man will never do this because, "Oh no, I'm going to do an interview in the bathroom." And she did it and she said it because she could say, "Okay, I can," but we can talk that she was in the bathroom because
I know
of the
men
sound
who do something differently in the same situation. I know a man that his wife had, they together have 3 children, and the man would go into the bathroom to sleep.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that's where he'd lay down put a carpet on the bathroom floor, get his book, he'd lay down and sleep. So
yeah, well, I always
we can
say
each
that,
look at a solution from a different way, right?
Yeah, but when you're on the stage to find a solution, when you have this self-esteem,
right?
I think that the 0 point is self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't see yourself as a person that can do this, you won't do this. So the first thing, if I have, the best tip I can say for every woman, the ones that wants to come to Brazil, the ones that are here, is also the same. Work on your self-esteem and work on your self-confidence, because your life is going to be totally different. You'll stop finding excuses. You'll stop finding the wrong that is in you, and you will be more action-oriented. Right. You'll be more results-oriented, and that's what changes your life. Because then you can make it whenever you want to make, or whatever you want to make, and this is it. But sometimes people try to find the problems and the solutions in the wrong place.
Right.
And the right place is this one, because there are no living human being on this earth that haven't faced problems or challenges. Right. But I think that the difference between success people and not successful people is this. Right. They know they're gonna find a solution.
That's true.
Even the solution is to give up. Sometimes you really have to give up on something. Mm-hmm. But then it's from a place of, okay, I tried, I did all I could do, mm-hmm. and this is it. Right. And what's next? But then you don't fail on depression, on anxiety, what happens with most women. Right. Because when on the first or second or third fail, they say, "Oh, this is not for me. Mm-hmm. Oh, I failed." How many times I failed in my life? I forgot, because probably it's more than 100, maybe 1,000. And I also say, okay, this door didn't open. Okay. Mm-hmm. Next door. Okay, didn't open. Okay, next door. Okay, didn't open. Okay, next door. So I'm always finding solutions and places to be in, to come. Because when you have a no, it doesn't mean nothing. It's just a no.
It's just a no.
So, and what I like to say is, no is the pathway to the yes. So
years ago, I learned that it takes something like 16 no's to get to a yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if that number's correct, but I always approached a no as one less, as something that was increasing my chance to get to yes. So I says, well, I just need 15 more no's. But you have to learn from each no. And if you learn from a no, then you get to yes. And a no from one person or from one company is not necessarily the same no from another.
Yeah, and see it as an opportunity for you to get better,
Right.
or to say no to, like, no to for you,
Right.
and okay,
Right.
because if you make it too much significant, too much big,
Right.
more than it is,
Right.
then you get then you failed, and then you're gonna be always this person that lives in mediocrity,
Right.
and that finds points the finger on the others,
Right. That's
and says that, and this is not a good and a real life.
Right.
So for you to have an extraordinary life, you have to have this mindset that no is just a no. So what is the next door for a yes? And maybe it's 16 doors that you have to knock before a yes, but it's okay. It's just another door. Don't make it too much significant, because everything we make too much significant, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what I teach people is, don't make any challenge in your life significant. Just face it as a challenge and say to you and to the people that you trust, or a mentor. So that's why I think for me, having a mentor is a lifestyle.
Right.
It's a must, because it's someone that is outside seeing you playing the game of your life. So if you're outside of the camp, you can see things that if you're in the camp, you cannot see it.
Right.
So if you're there, living your life, you see things. But someone that is outside and have this clinic eye, trained eye, just say, okay, go, move to the right, move to the left.
I'm so
life
happy.
Gets so easier.
I'm personally so happy you just said that, because one of my objectives is actually to create a platform using podcasts to help people find each other, and to help people promote themselves. Because what you just said, I've heard in different ways. But what we see, women are out there in the world. Women are entrepreneurs in the world. Women face the same challenges, have the same difficulties sometimes in reaching out, right? And what is the world today? When we talk about the world and world business, there's business everywhere. Many times we just focus, that's not only for women, men and women, they just focus on their own locality, where they are. And they really don't understand the opportunities in the world. One thing that I see, and what you've just mentioned, and adopting that as a lifestyle, and what you mentioned about the woman in the bathroom as an example, what she said to you, if I were calling her as a man, I'm guessing she would never have said that. She would never have said that she's in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
She would probably hang up and that would be it. But you all have an advantage, and I'm saying you all, I'm speaking to women this time. You speak openly to each other. You don't have a barrier to talk to each other. Right? And I see that from networking events. Women prefer to talk to women, period. That's good. And I think you have to build on that. And one thing that I see it working in the United States quite well. Many organizations that exist, networking type organizations of women, for women in business, to do business with women.
Yeah.
Because that first hurdle, that ability to talk in any way, in the bathroom, standing up, running, doing whatever, feeding children, that's natural. All right. And so you feel better. And I think that's something maybe also in Brazil, and now reaching out to our listeners in the world, to find somebody like yourself, like Luciana here in Brazil, who has the understanding, who has the capacity to speak, to help each other, to be a global mentor, how to reach out in the world. There's business in China, there's business in Europe, there's business everywhere. And there are women everywhere, and women have the same challenges everywhere.
Yeah, and I do have clients all over the world. Brazilians living abroad, foreigners living abroad that wants to, they met me, someone talked to them about me, because as women, we do have challenges all over the world. And now we're living in a era that, there is no Brazilian or Americans or Europeans. That's it. We are women.
That's it.
And we face the same challenges, and we face the same difficulties, and we are together on this. Mm-hmm. And what you mentioned is very important, that when we are together, we talk about everything.
Right.
And men would say, "Oh, they are not focusing."
Because we know that men only in Brazil, men just talk about football, right? And that's it.
Yeah,
if you don't talk about
they
football,
missed the point. No, we didn't miss the point. We can do all together, as you can see. We do everything at the same time, and we do it just well. So let us be as we are. Let us be as we are, because, and another point is, the more truth with you and with the world you are, the more successful you are. We are in the media most highest point of being, and so we have to respect that the people that are having success in media now is because they are themselves.
Right.
Their truth, they have this capacity to be truth with themselves, with their values, with the person they want to be. Mm-hmm. So this is also regarding to the point that I always back to with that is self-esteem.
Right.
You have to be very truth with you, because when you're truth with you, you're going to have success. Of course, you have to work on yourself. You have to study. You have to do whatever you want to do, because this is life. But
that's life.
That's life. But if you're true, you have this capacity to be truth, like to say the things you want to say. Of course, there are some places you say, or some people you do, but it's talking about women, in environment, women, just be you.
Just be your...
Because that's what it's going to connect to you.
Right.
Because the more Luciana I am, the more people want me.
Right.
Because they want me, Luciana. Because there's so many mentors, there's so many coaches, there are so many people working on this. But Luciana, the way I do this, my method, the way I deliver it, that's me.
That's you.
And people want me.
You talk to people in a bathroom, right?
Yeah, and this is it. I have this capacity to make people be them, and they just say that, "Oh, I feel so me when I'm with you." Like, I can say anything. They open their hearts. They open to say things that they say, "Oh, nobody knows this, only you." And I say, thank you. Because as I allow me to be myself, I allow people to be themselves. And if you want to work on yourself, if you want to empower yourself to work, whatever you want to work in Brazil or any other country in the world, you have to have this power within that.
And
if you want to have success, you have to be with it.
In Brazil, that power within is translated in trust and credibility.
Trust.
And that's one of the things really needed here. So, Luciana, we're coming to the end of our time, unfortunately. And I'm going to have to, I guess, our next time we're going to be talking from a bathroom, I'm sure. But
hope not.
Well, it doesn't matter. But
it doesn't matter. It's going to be anyways.
Yeah, we just have to be
very funny.
I want to thank you for sharing your time with our listeners. I have no doubt that great tips, great ideas, great talk. And thanks again for being with us, okay?
Thank you, Tom. And I hope you have this a capacity to bring more and more people to help people. Because when you heard somebody else's stories, we just feel better because we know we are real. And thank you.
Everything's real, and that's the basis today of storytelling. We have to tell the story and try to help to tell more stories about real people. And that's success. So thanks again for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
for
great
our
day.
listeners, I want you to know you can find more information about Luciana, and it's Luciana. I'm going to spell her last name for you, which is Panteleiciuc. So that's Panteleiciuc. So Panteleiciuc. Okay, Luciana.
Yeah, perfect.
Find more about her on LinkedIn, and you also find her on Instagram as well. So thanks again for being with us.
Thank you, Tom. Have a great day.
Okay,
Thank you.
Too. And I'd also like to thank our audience and our sponsor, Focus MI Market Intelligence. Focus MI specializes in market research for the Brazilian agricultural market. And more about them on their site, focusmi.com. And also ask to visit our site, which is www.talk2brazil, that's TALK, the number 2, BRAZIL.com. And there you'll find previous shows of Talk to Brazil. So remember, when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Goodbye, and thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Tom Reaoch on Talk to Brazil, the business connector to Brazil.